And
Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to something else. Something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matata, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 272 of Something Else. I feel like I've said that already this week. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is the Tommy Pritchard to my Blue Demon. It's Trae. Trae, how's life without 4 feet of snow outside your window?
You know what? I've had power all week, and I haven't been trapped in my house. Not that I go anywhere I don't have to anyway, but could have been worse.
Yeah. As I've posted on the YouTube channel, tinyurl.com/something else YouTube, we see how often I get to plug that. But as I mentioned, I am right in the middle of the blizzard of 26. 41 inches of snow between Sunday night and Monday, and I went 36 hours without power. And you're listening to this, so obviously power came back. And of course, the funny thing was, I don't know if this was after the show or if this was at the end of the TNA show with Cindy. I was joking, or she was telling me about how she had to take a few weeks off the next few months, and so I'd have to go to you to be the co-host those weeks. And I was like, well, what if I want to take a few weeks off and just let you and Trae do the shows? It almost came to that.
I thought about just trying to do the show myself, but I figured that would have been a terrible fucking idea.
Not necessarily, it wouldn't have been a terrible fucking idea, but we had at least 1.5 good shows to talk about this week. But yeah, that's why, because we always tape these shows out of order. We always tape the Cindy show on Sundays usually, and then this show on Monday, and we are taping it. Well, I don't say late, but later in the day for us on Tuesday. It's 9:15 Eastern Standard Time as we press the record button here.
Yeah, Arya got power. What time this afternoon did you get power? It was about 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Time.
4 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. And
yeah.
The second thing I messaged Trae after I have power was, so do you want to do a show?
I was in the middle of I had to do what the kids call adulting. I had to adult today, and you ever have one of those days that it just takes all fucking day. That was the day. But hey, got the bullshit done with, and wife and I went and did our civic duty, and then voted and had Chinese food, and we still had time to do the shows. Everything worked out.
There you go. I guess I should have. I mean, it was, I guys, fairly obvious. It's your guys' primary today.
Well, we early voted. It's next. The primary is next week, but we always early vote.
Okay. Ours, we do the presidential primary sometime in the spring, but our primary is usually in like September.
Yeah.
And then like nobody votes in it because it's a primary. Plus, it's right before the general election, and so the next day there's 8 million articles about why isn't anybody in New Bedford voting. It's like, well, it is what it is. Wait till next month, and then the general election we usually have a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, this is actually the first time that I have ever made the effort to vote in a midterm primary. I was particularly interested in the primaries for governor and U.S. senator from Texas, and I wanted to I wanted to cast my ballot. So,
I
and I
I
think
I just
I'm
realized
sorry.
it is the midterms this year.
Yes, yeah,
I'm like
midterm.
I,
Mhm.
I'm still like it's 2025. Is the midterms next year? It, to be fair, it's only February. It's not like,
To be fair,
it's July and I'm going, oh, do you mean the midterms are this year? Um,
yeah.
any you always hear the rumors, but any chance you think of that state turning a different color?
I I am hopeful. I think that a lot of people are very upset with the state of things, and is that so I don't know if you had followed this. It was pretty big news. One of the one of the people who is a contender for the Democratic nomination for United States Senate, James Talarico, was supposed to be on Stephen Colbert, and the
Oh,
FCC
geez.
like blocked it and wouldn't air the interview. So they
But
did the interview anyway and put it up on YouTube, where far more people saw it than if it had just aired on in the
CBS.
regular Colbert time slot. And I thought that he came off very well. I Arya, I don't know how much you picked up on my personality. I do not have the patience to keep my manners in places that and with people that don't deserve them. So
Hmm.
I have become inspired by people who have that ability to be that even keeled, and I have thought he's been coming off very well. And I was so yeah, that was I wanted to I wanted to make sure that my voice was heard on what because that's why we had the primaries. And again,
Hmm.
I am not a member of any political party. I disdain both of them. One of them more than the other, true, but I do disdain both of them. But the way it is, you don't have to be a registered party member. It's different from state to state. In
Hmm.
Texas, you don't register a party. You don't register as a member of a party when you register to vote, but you go when you go and vote in the primary, you pick which primary you want to vote in, and then you can't vote in the other one. So yes,
So I'll be honest, I don't really. I assume I had to list myself as my political party of choice. But yeah, I when I go for the primary, obviously it's the same thing. You can only pick the one party over the other.
yeah, I remember. I
See,
think when I lived in Mississippi, I had to register to be able to vote in the party primary.
so CBS is under some other scrutiny too, and this I have to laugh because we you do not watch the show, but this is not the first time in the recent history we're going to be talking about Survivor, because there is a cast member who played a couple seasons of Survivor, the 30s, and she is not. She's basically saying that she's never going to get invited back. She has an issue with CBS, and that CBS is leaning very pro-Trump, and there's a few things going on. There's a few. Oh my God, this is killing me because I'm trying to find who the fuck it was because it's killing me. But there was a little bit of um, a social media clashing between a Survivor 50 cast member and somebody who did not get cast on it. And Survivor 50 is the is oh my God, not I guess it's an all-star season, but it's a returning player season. So there's a whole big rigmarole over who got cast and who didn't get cast. And there is that thing too with Survivor or with CBS where it's like they are, I want to say they're trying to not sway with one side or the other, but by doing the way they're doing it, they are so obviously going right. And, you know, anybody out there listening to this can feel however they want about politics. I personally disagree with half of you, but that's the thing. That's me versus that's my opinion versus
Now,
your guys' opinion.
Now, which half of
But
the
I
listener do you think disagrees with you?
I would rather not name names. I mean, to be fair, I don't know who actually listens to this show, but yeah,
Yeah,
to be honest, I'd genuinely be shocked if there really is people on the opposite side of the aisle that I am on. Because to be perfectly honest, I figure just listening to us for 5 minutes would piss off people on the other side of the aisle.
we
Um,
have a
but
we have a transgender woman and a redneck that puts the red in redneck. So yeah, but look, all I'm gonna say on this note is that people are showing us who they are right now, and we would do well to remember.
and I hope everyone remembers how everyone is behaving now in 5 to 10 years. And I was actually, while I didn't have power, I had to pull out one of my actual paperback books because, hey, I need to entertain myself somehow. And it was The Chamber by John Grisham. I read about 200 pages of it before the power came back on. And anyway, it's set. The first couple chapters are set in the late '60s Alabama and actually Mississippi, Tennessee area with the KKK and everything going on with that. And then the next chapter after that, they fast forward to the '80s, and there's a lot of people going, "Why did we act that way?" And I feel that there's going to be a lot of people like that in about 10 years. Like, what the fuck was wrong with us?
One of these times when we're not on the air, I got to tell you an idea for a novel that I have.
Nice. Um, yeah, the Survivor I'm sorry, the Survivor Instagram, Survivor Reddit page is way too fucking um post uh, too many fucking posts on the Survivor Reddit page. I can't find the post I'm actually looking for. Motherfucker. I'll find it like when the show ends. That's how it usually
Yeah.
goes on this show here.
My
But
my mother was a big Survivor fan. Survivor and Big Brother, those were her shows.
never got into Big Brother. I was more of an Amazing Race person, but
She watched
honestly,
that.
both shows
Yeah,
I
she
haven't
watched
really
that
been
too.
watching either show. Nice. Yeah. Um. Well, what the hell? We've been going at this for about 20 minutes. Let's go to Mid South Wrestling. By the way, Mid South World Class, February 23rd, 1985. We just had to do everything we could to not get a week off, and I say that before knowing whenever the hell I'm actually going to post this because that's still up in the air. But anyway, let's go to the intro with JR and Joel. Sadly, no Bill Watts losing his voice this week.
Again, everybody, and welcome to Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll be calling all the action for you, ladies and gentlemen. And what a tremendous hour you are about to see right here on Mid-South Wrestling. First of all, you'll see Hacksaw Butch Reed go against Nature Boy Buddy Landell right here today. Plus, you'll see the Dirty White Boys. Quite a tag team combination are they. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, Ted DiBiase has demanded a rematch in the Best Dressed Man in Mid-South contest. This time it will be electronically monitored and electronically judged, so we'll have that for you in this hour. Plus, you're going to see Terry Taylor and the Iceman together in tag team action. And Joel, tell them about a fantastic main event.
Well, it is a fantastic main event, folks. We've got the Rock and Roll Express against the Guerreros in a return bout for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. And this time the Guerreros have stipulated that they want one referee. The Rock and Roll say they don't care if it's one referee or 50 referees. They want to get this thing settled, and they want to show who's the best tag team in Mid-South.
That will all be coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. And last week, if you were here with us, what a tremendous encounter when Hacksaw Reed collided with Kamala. Well, you know one thing's for sure in this situation, that General Skandar Akbar wants to end the career of Hacksaw Butch Reed. Once and for all, no questions about it. Well, they tried that last week, and we want to show exactly what happened. Plus, Dr. Death's new weapon debuted. Let's see the closing moments of that bout.
I love that we're going to have a special stipulation match today for the tag titles. There's only going to be one referee in the main event this week.
What
Big special stipulation.
I wrote somewhere between 1 and 50 referees.
Sadly, I don't think Mid-South has 50 referees, so probably ain't going to happen. I'm sorry.
I mean, you could
Um,
have imported some from Mexico, like the Guerreros keep requesting. These biased gringo referees.
we could have Bronco Lubitsch and David Manning Von Erich come over and referee
Rick
Ricky
Hazard.
Hazard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, how old was Mark Curtis? Mark Curtis was already training, I'm pretty sure, at Dominic DeNucci's school.
He
Because Mick
trained
Foley,
with Mick and like Shane Douglas, didn't
yeah.
he?
Um,
That was
so
85,
80,
86.
yeah, I think in my head it's always been 85. But I mean, because here's what we know. His second match was the TV taping in September of 86, the WWF TV taping when he was a jobber. So
Do you think that that Joel Armstrong still has his referee license?
I bet Joel Armstrong probably still does have his referee license. We could have had 7 or 8 referees on this show. And I think Bill Watts was just lazy and didn't book that many referees. Hey, Jake Roberts used to be a referee, not in Mid South, but he used to be a referee.
Yeah.
Before
Jim
before Daddy let
Ross.
him wrestle. Jim
Jim Ross
Jim
has been a
Ross,
referee. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure we've had several wrestlers be guest referees on this show before. What the hell? Maybe we could have electronic monitoring as a referee.
I miss. You know who I miss? Who is that fat referee in the ring? Todd Sinclair. We need Tony Khan. If you're listening to the show, and why wouldn't you be? Get us a fat referee in Ring of Honor again, like the good old days.
Are you sure Todd Sinclair isn't in the current Ring of Honor?
No, it's just AEW referees.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I
If you give
don't
me
know.
a
I
second, I
know
think I could, because I'm a weirdo and I started keeping track. And there's Aubrey, and there's the four bald ones, not bald wins. Bryce Rimsberg, Rick Knox, Stephon Smith, Brandon Martinez, and Paul Turner and Mike Posey. I mean, yeah.
I did give Aubrey some grief one time because I was when we were at the Boston AEW taping last year. She did some Ring of Honor. She did she did a Ring of Honor title match on Collision. I want to say Mercedes Moné versus somebody for the Ring of Honor Women's title or the Ring of Honor Women's TV title. Excuse me.
Red Velvet.
Yes, Red Velvet, and she wore an AEW shirt, and we had a debate over whether or not that was the proper shirt to be wearing for
That's what
that match.
well, they do have Ring of Honor shirts that they usually wear, but I don't know. I don't pay attention. It's funny, by the way.
That's where the debate was because it was a Ring of Honor match, but it was on AEW television. So which shirt do you wear?
Yeah, I listened to the AEW podcast. They had Brandon Martinez on. And he said like he got hired specifically because they started doing like bringing in all the CMLL guys, and they needed a referee who was fluent in Spanish. So like
if Aubrey learned Spanish.
Well, did she? Well, if you watch, like if they have like some of the guys, probably speaking of English, but if they have like a CMLL heavy match, it's usually Brandon Martinez.
I know maybe not for years, but for a while, Aubrey was learning Spanish because they had so many luchadors on the show, and yeah. Anyway, the replay of Reed versus Kamala just reminded me how much I wanted Horse Bill Watts to do commentary this week. I was sad we've grown the commentary roster to being more than Boyd Pierce and Bill Watts, just for that reason.
Oh, just wait till we get to UWF and it's Bill and Joel.
Yeah, I was looking at some 86 stuff, and it's Bill and Joel, and it's JR and Partner of the Week sometimes. I saw one with him and DiBiase. I know the famous pairing is him and Michael Hayes, because that's the one that WCW tried to recreate in like '89, and it just didn't work.
Miss Reeser.
Reeser, we miss you.
Yeah.
Reeser,
I believe he worked for the TV station. That was where he came from, I think.
More than likely. I mean, that's where a lot of these announcers came from.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, Lance Russell and Dave Brown in Memphis, and Dave Brown was the weatherman.
yeah,
That
he's
used to
with man
be,
forever.
yeah, that used to be fairly common on these territory wrestling shows. It was just, the local broadcaster.
Well, we go to our first match, which is Butch Reed versus Buddy Landel. Boyd Pierce is doing the ring announcing, and he's a picture of sartorial splendor this week with
As
a light
always,
purple jacket and darker purple pants.
as always, the Hollywood fashion plate, Boyd Pierce.
Trey, what do you think of Reed as a babyface? To me, he's missing something. He's a great heel and an all right babyface, but he just doesn't pop off the screen the same way. And I mean, we all know why he's a babyface here in Mid South Wrestling, but it would be better if they could turn him back heel as soon as they could.
He doesn't have a babyface presence. It doesn't feel like, but if you need somebody to make you look like a babyface, Buddy Landel is the motherfucker. And I popped when Butch hit him with I think a right hand and just knocked Buddy's dick in the dirt.
Buddy is amazing, and it's too bad Bad Buddy came out more often than Good Buddy, but yeah.
Yeah.
Reed won with a diving shoulder block. The match went. I mean, I don't have the stopwatch, but probably went a good 6 minutes, which is long for the opener of Mid South anyway.
With 5 minutes and 12 seconds, I was appalled at the blatant favoritism from Joel Watts, wishing for Buddy Landel's career to be ended. And I was also
Joel is a biased announcer.
I was also appalled when Reed hit the shoulder block, and Joel called it a forearm, and JR called it a spear, and they were both wrong.
I think sometimes it's easy to just ignore Joel's existence.
All right, now, Bill. No wonder Erich got the big push.
Well, Micah never even ended up on television in any form, so
He was the smartest one of all of them.
or was he the least liked in the Watts family?
I don't like guys named Micah. That's a feminine
It's
male
a tragic
name.
name. Yeah. Recently at a Tulsa show, Ron from the Tulsa Boys Home presented Butch Reed with a piece of wood. And the piece of wood was I'm trying to not be judgmental, but they're making a big deal about that. They have a piece of wood, ladies and gentlemen. They're like, oh, it's a plaque. It's a piece of wood.
It was a plank of wood that Ron had burned Butch Reed and either a number 1 or a letter I onto. But it's the thought that counts.
I thought it said Butch 1 Reed. I'm like, they couldn't even put in the number sign.
Well, it's got a lot of pieces.
And then maybe even sadder that Butch Reed didn't hit Buddy with his piece of wood.
I am waiting for my best co-host plaque that's just a plank of wood with my name on it.
Have you got a plank of wood and a pen? Well, like you could tell, and it's like I'm sorry, I don't mean to concentrate on. I'm sure it's very nice of the kids from the Tulsa Boys Home because we'd seen Butch go there a few episodes ago, and he went and spent some time with them, and yada yada yada. But it's like they only polished up half of the piece of wood, and the back of it was like all shitty looking, like they just found a piece of wood in like the forest or something, and they didn't take the time to clean it off entirely. And so Butch is looking at the piece of wood and admiring that they wrote his name on it. And so on the camera, you're just looking at the dirty piece of wood.
This is actually the most babyface thing that Butch did all episode.
But I did have to laugh because they had a healthy crowd, but it was not a sellout. But in the back of my mind, I can always hear like the old time promoters talking about how, every night was a sellout. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, I have a thing. If you give me a gift, I do not care how terrible the gift is and how much I hate it. I will not sell it at all. I will smile and say thank you, and that is what Butch Reed did.
Is this what is this your response when I got you the Riley and Jonesy vinyl pops?
No, I love those. They're in my living room.
Okay, good. Good. Um, so we go back to the ring for our next match. It is the Dirty White Boys versus Private Terry Daniels with Corporal Chevrons and the debuting Tommy Pritchard.
Tommy Pritchard from Houston.
Yes. This really is a Smoky Mountain free match, except Tommy Pritchard and Tony Anthony have the wrong partners. I don't know this for a fact, but Tommy has to be coming in as a push wrestler, right? Because like he got a lot more than we've seen any enhancement talent get here. Like maybe it was just Tony and Len, excuse me, being generous with him, but like they gave him a lot in this match, I thought.
He got the Shawn Michaels, this guy is brand new, but we think he's pretty good, so we're going to give him some.
I guess we'll see next week and the week after how it goes. But I thought that this was indicative of him getting a bit of a push.
Yeah, I wondered, like, they didn't treat him like a job guy. They got the heat on Terry Daniels. Tom got a hot tag, made a comeback, then they did beat Tom, which I guess technically he is lower on the totem pole than Private Terry Daniels. Do you think that Tom went and got his doctorate so he could have a prefix before his name like Private Terry Daniels?
I didn't think of it that way, but that would make sense. Plus, we're almost literally 7 years to the day away from the debut of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It was February 1st, 1992 was the first episode, although the Heavenly Bodies don't debut until like mid-March. Because there's the whole thing where Cornette was finding his team for the tag team title tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would make sense that he just stops wrestling here and goes to school to get his doctorate. And even though obviously Tommy Pritchard had a bit of a career well before that, we're ignoring that for the time being. Watching this match, I was wondering what Kimberly was thinking. Wondering what happened to Tony's full head of hair. Arya says hypocritically.
Well, can't help it.
We'll say it's kind of weird that they have a double team finisher and then Len just picks the guy up and hits a Samoan drop.
Yeah, they have not won, as Joel called it this week, a Russian suplex.
It was not Joel Watts' best episode. Maybe he should have been back in the ring refereeing, or maybe he should have been, on the campus at the University of Oklahoma with Dr. Death this week.
He should be editing music videos, I think.
He does a very good job editing music videos. We've talked about that,
Hey,
no
there's
shame
a good
in
one.
His game.
There's a good one at the end of this show. Maybe the best one he's done yet.
Suddenly, all that, push from last week about how we couldn't get to see his new music video. It's like, damn, I wish I would have cut a match so we could see the music video last week.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of last week was the first ever self-proclaimed Mid-South Best Dressed Man contest, which, despite Jim Duggan winning, somehow ended in a little bit of controversy. So it has led to a rematch this week. So let's go to Jim Ross to introduce the Mid-South second ever Best Dressed Man contest.
Been waiting for the big rematch for the Best Dressed Man in Mid-South contest between Ted DiBiase and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were with us last week on Mid-South Wrestling, we had the contest. The fans decided. It was a clear-cut decision, and the three referees, in my mind, that Hacksaw Duggan was the unanimous winner. However, Mr. DiBiase was not satisfied with that. We have a different system of judging tonight. It'll be electronically monitored in our television truck. We have our monitors at ringside. The wrestling fans are still going to be deeply involved in this situation, but we do have it monitored. Joel Watts is standing by in the truck. Joel, if you can hear me, are we ready to go out there?
Yes, we are, Jim. Thank you very much. We're at the KTBS mobile unit truck. Director Oral Link and John Stokely, his audio man, are monitoring the electronic volume unit meter. And hopefully we'll have a clear-cut decision in this contest. Let's go back to you, Jim.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear it. I hope, Mr. DiBiase, now this situation will meet your approval, but still this baseball bat concerns me and I'm sure all the fans.
The baseball bats, like I said before, I don't trust Duggan. If you search him when he comes down here thoroughly, if he's not carrying anything, I'll give up the bat again and we'll do this thing. This is a foolproof system, and let the chips fall where they may.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear that. We're awaiting the arrival of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And as soon as he arrives in the ring, we will explain to you all exactly how this judging will take place.
I missed my cue to press the stop button. So Joel is at the production truck to monitor this with oral link. And I can't imagine that could possibly be an angle alert.
That seems very straightforward to me.
Yep. So I did like that DiBiase did bring out his bat the second time. And
Yeah.
I popped for that. JR explained. Now, this you and I had a debate about this on the Facebook yesterday or the day before, whenever the hell we were talking about this. I think DiBiase's foolproof plan got screwed over here by Jim Ross, because Jim Ross explains exactly how this will work with the electronic monitoring, where any noise at all will be picked up. So if you don't want Ted DiBiase to win, just don't make any noise. And I think it's fairly obvious that DiBiase was hoping to win based on everyone booing the hell out of him and, getting a higher reading that way.
I am appalled that you would include one Ted DiBiase of committing fraud.
I am not the state of Mississippi. I cannot, I would never accuse a fine, upstanding gentleman like Ted DiBiase of committing any kind of fraud.
No, we would never.
And I will say, there's a part of me that thinks that JR was being a little, not say condescending towards the fans, but it's like he explained it like 3 or 4 times, and it's like, you know what? He probably really should have explained it 3 or 4 times, and they got it. Whether or not they would have got it on the first try or not, I guess we'll never know. But they did understand the rules by the time it came to not cheer for Ted DiBiase. Now, in the interest of fairness, like last week, there were some fans who did applaud for Ted DiBiase. It was not the, dropping a pin silence, when it was his turn for a reaction. However, Jim Duggan was your overwhelming winner of the contest.
They were both very, very handsomely attired. I bet they went to probably somebody right next door to like the whoever makes Boyd Pierce's clothes. They went to that guy's normal brother.
I would hope that Jim Duggan was wearing his cufflinks he got for being the Wrestler of the Year in 1984.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Bet he was. That was how this started, isn't it? Wasn't that how this whole feud started?
Yes, because Ted DiBiase was offended that they would give him, cufflinks when he doesn't dress very nicely. And that led to this, the self-proclaimed Best Dressed Man contest, which is now Jim Duggan leads 2-0. And I think this is a best of 3 falls situation. I don't believe next week we're going to have the 3rd ever Mid-South Best Dressed Man contest.
I think things may have escalated past that.
Now, does this make Duggan the linear Best Dressed Man champion? Like, are we still waiting to this day for him to defend his championship?
Well, I guess so. Did he ever compete in another Best Dressed contest?
I am unaware of one anyway.
I mean, I'm sure he hasn't lost one, so he's still definitely the linear champion. We don't know if he's been defending it or not.
It's been 40 years. God damn it, Duggan. You need to put the cummerbund on the line here. But anyway, DiBiase was not happy with Jim Ross's prompting. Please, did I fuck up a spelling of a word here. Did DiBiase actually say that he thinks he's been rubbed off again?
Oh my.
I wrote that he's been rubbed off again, and the U and the O aren't right next to each other. There's an I in the way, but I'm thinking I meant to write he's been robbed again, but I wrote rubbed off. But oh well, I'm not playing the
Autocorrect.
audio. But DiBiase grabbed his bat to go kick Joel's ass, and let's go to Joel out at the KTBS production trailer.
Well, I think it's great that Hacksaw Duggan
Are you
won.
going to put up with that? You saw that, Watts?
Hey, I saw it. He beat you by more than twice.
He prompted him. Ross prompted him for that decision. He as much as told him, cheer for Duggan. Don't cheer for DiBiase. You're going to let that decision stand?
I think so. I think it was a good decision, and we've spent all the time on this thing that we need to. Ted, you lost the contest.
You're just like the rest of them. You're worse than your dad. You're just another Mid-South official that stands behind that hippie, that no good drunken bum Jim Duggan. I've had you all up to here, and I'm leaving. Isn't that Jim Duggan's car?
Well,
isn't that Duggan's car right there?
Well,
is that monitor still on in there?
Well,
Duggan, are you what? Cameraman, get a close up of this. Duggan, are you watching
now,
me?
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Are you watching me? I dropped you in the parking lot before. You're in there gloating like a big shot. Well, gloat over this, Duggan. I'm taking out your car.
Wait a minute! Oh! It's... Gee whiz. DiBiase! No. No.
Holy shit.
DiBiase!
Get that! Get out of my way!
We're gonna try to
Get the hell out of my
Get
away from me!
We're gonna try to restore some order here. Let's go to a commercial break.
I think that window was working strong style here. I'm going to bet that he was, in fact, attempting to smash that windshield, but that windshield, that was a good windshield. That was not getting completely destroyed. I mean, it was, for all intents and purposes, it was destroyed, but it was not smashed through.
I've always said glass does not know how to work.
Nope. Just ask Darby Allin, from that match with the Young Bucks and Sting's last match.
I still have not seen that match.
Are you serious?
There is a gap in early. You know how I have the gap right now when I'm behind? The reason that I'm determined.
Skipped ahead?
Well, the reason that I'm determined not to skip over is because I still have a gap from like the beginning of 2024 until like the week after Revolution of AEW that I have not seen. And I know that was the period that Bryan Danielson was like, had this run on Collision where he wrestled fucking Jun Akiyama, Yuji Nagata, Hechicero. So yeah, I'll get to it one day.
Soy. Hechicero.
You sure are.
But I guess, it's been 2 years, so I don't feel too bad about saying this. That was a crazy fucking match, and a lot crazier than I thought. And actually, I'd be interested in knowing your thoughts. When I was watching it, the first minute of the match, it looked like they were just going to do a squash match because it was Sting, Darby, and Sting's kids in the ring running wild on the Bucks. I'm like, oh my God, they're just going to, the match is going to be 45 seconds. But that's not what happened. Spoiler alert.
We'll get to it.
Darby takes a bump through glass, and the glass was not a good worker that night again.
Nah. I have not watched it yet, but the interview was posted today with Darby on Chris Van Vliet.
Yes. I did not look at any of the recaps. They haven't popped up in my feed yet, but I'm sure they will shortly.
Really? You didn't have 34 fucking posts from the Observer about every detail?
Well, to be fair, there were 34 posts from the Observer about every detail, but I didn't click on any of them. I meant on my YouTube page. I usually have, 34
Uh,
different clips of Chris Van Vliet's interviews.
yeah.
Um, hey, no shame on Chris Van Vliet. Good for him getting all these interviews, and he's a pretty good little interviewer.
Yeah, there was a period that I was a little iffy on him because he had a string of problematic people on. And I joked at the time because it was a Velveteen Dream and some other people. And I joked at the time that in a couple of weeks he's going to have fucking rock and roll Buck Zumhoffe on. But I do not believe that he ever got to that one. So we will allow him to stay off the shit list.
He had Aries on the one time, and I thought that was an interesting interview, the Austin Aries interview, because he asked him all the stuff that I guess I don't watch all these Austin Aries interviews, so I don't really know, but it's he asked him about all of the TNA shit. They always the thing where, he walked out on John Morrison that time at Bound for Glory, and the time he put his crotch in Christy Hemi's face and all that shit. And it's it was interesting hearing a second point of view.
Yeah, his interviews are always very good. The ones that I've watched, I'm trying to make a habit of watching them. Very good so far.
I never watch. I don't say never. I rarely watch the whole hour plus interview. I'll watch when the clips pop up. If something interesting is showing to me, I'll listen to it. When I see Jim Cornette clips and he's talking about classic wrestling and it's something that looks interesting, I'm I'll click on that. But I'll be honest, I don't watch most modern day wrestling anymore, so I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about it.
Yeah, and that is also how I consume Jim Cornette. Anything to do with classic wrestling or the have you seen? He's had a lot of his TNA agent reports and some OVW TV formats and stuff. It was an old clip, but it was new to me today. An OVW fan questionnaire from 2004.
Yeah. At the time when I was hiding from the world, I sent him a few TNA questions anonymously. There's one where I sent him that the picture is of Shark Boy in a glass bowl because they did that stupid skit on Impact where they built his house, quote unquote. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I sent that anonymously. But if you ever see that, I'm that person.
All right.
Yep. All right. So up next, we had Paul Brown and the Blue Demon versus Terry Taylor, who was a bitch, a stooge, a degent, and a coward, and Iceman King Parsons. Jesus Christ, Terry Taylor's name is getting too long. Let's go to Jake Roberts has entered the ring, and he has something to say.
It is too, Taylor. You wasn't ready last week. What's wrong with you right now? You get a nice suntan. You're all ready. So why don't we just do it?
Yeah, you really pick your shots, don't you? You know this match was already signed, Jake Roberts. But anytime you want to match with me for the TV title, I can't wait to get my hands on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anytime.
You pick my shots, huh?
Yeah,
I tell you what, I'll pick my shot last week and you wouldn't do it. I waited for you right here. You sent Brad Armstrong down. Because you didn't have the nerve to step up here and do it yourself.
You know the contract's signed. That's why you're out here. You know it's signed.
You're such a big man. Champ, champ, anytime you're ready, I'm ready. Anytime you want it. I'll tell you something. Let me tell you one thing. I don't turn my back on a man that I'm afraid of. So this should tell you something right here.
Okay, I never knew he said that before he said it to Cody that time on Dynamite, but that's a great line. I would never turn my back on a man I'm afraid of. And then he just turns around and walks away.
I remember the line that I remember from the Cody promo was, "I don't want the whole pie, just your piece."
I don't remember that line, but that's a great line.
Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Blue Demon, I've got to say, looked the fucking worst I've ever seen him look.
I am not familiar with Blue Demon Senior, but he really let himself go.
This and if you check it, go to Arya and Trae on Twitter. you can see this was not the famous luchador Blue Demon. This was a fucking guy in a bodysuit and a mask that looked like shit, and it was fantastic.
You know who it was?
Who was it?
Billy Red Lions.
Really?
Yeah, I looked it up. That's why I commented on your page that he looked real red with a capital R.
I gathered that you made a Billy Red Lions reference, but I did not do the math. But by the way, do you remember like September, October last year? There was a period that Terry Taylor just kind of fucking disappeared for a while.
Yes. Was he in All Japan?
No, I found out, speaking of Cornette clips that I was listening to, Terry Taylor had mono and was out for 6 weeks. And Cornette said that at the TV studio in Shreveport, they had like an old style drink machine with bottles. And he said he must have drank after Terry Taylor because he ended up getting it too. He didn't get it near as bad though. He said he was back in a couple of days. But yeah, Terry Taylor missed 6 weeks because of mono.
Damn. Maybe Jim Cornette and Terry Taylor had the same rat. Maybe one of them should have been doing some fence building.
Maybe I don't know. I was going to make a joke. Maybe he didn't get it. Maybe he got it straight from Terry Taylor. We don't know. We don't judge.
Yeah, you do you. Like we know Jim is a little freaky in bed. He's admitted to it.
Yeah.
By the way, I meant to mention this earlier during the Jim Duggan Ted DiBiase thing. Is Joel Watts just shorter than I always thought he was? Because I always thought he was pretty freaking tall, just really skinny. But like he's standing next to Ted DiBiase, and Ted DiBiase was only like 6'1", 6'2", has a good 3 inches on him. And it's possible that it's like Joel may have been like standing in a bit of like not a hole, but like not a decline.
I bet if Joel had been 6'1", he'd be the TV champion right now. By the way, Jake's complaint was entirely valid.
Oh yeah,
what the fuck?
He got screwed out of his TV title match last week.
Yeah.
And it's like they did not announce this match last week. They didn't say, "Oh, next we're going to have Terry Taylor and Iceman Parsons versus Paul Brown and the Blue Demon." By the way, while I was looking up, the Blue Demon was 52-year-old Billy Red Lions. Iceman pinned Brown with a clothesline, proving once and for all that Brown and Blue is not a good mix.
Minute 17 seconds. Takes a good team to beat Paul Brown and the Blue Demon, but it doesn't take them long.
What made it weirder was Billy Red Lions was not wrestling this much, and he was affiliated with the WWF, and would semi-regularly come out in a suit and tie with Jack Tunney, and also occasionally do local promos. So I don't know. Like maybe that's why he was in a mask, so it's like nobody knew that he was the Billy Red Lions from the WWF, and maybe he just wasn't really affiliated with them that closely.
I bet he was wearing the mask because he was scared Baron Gattoni was going to find his ass again.
That's right. We did see him versus Baron Gattoni. That's a nice callback to the Friday Night Spot show.
Yeah. Wasn't that our first inductee into the something else, all the something else?
Scroll. Yes, he was. May 16, 2025. We are almost at the 1-year anniversary of the Something Else Hall of Something Else. It's funny because we did not list why Baron Gattoni is listed. Like everybody else gets a reason. But it's like, you don't need to. If you've seen this man, we do not need a reason to induct Baron Gattoni into the Something Else Hall of Something Else.
No. Scott D'Amore, if you're listening, and why wouldn't you be? Give us more Baron Gattoni on the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling YouTube page, please.
I'm sad that we may have to induct Scott D'Amore into the Something Else Hall of This Sucks.
We might.
Now, I didn't watch the ceremony, but did you see the clips of the AJ Styles retirement ceremony yesterday?
I did not, no.
So I didn't actually watch his in-ring promo, but it's like I saw like a lot of the backstage stuff. Like, like the WWE people who are already there, like were there, like Petey Williams and Jeremy Borash. Abyss was hiding in a closet.
It was
Then
the
he was
boiler
found by
room.
Frankie Kazarian. Oh, yeah, it was the
I
boiler
did.
room.
That was the one I saw, and I only saw a second of the clip of Frankie Kazarian opening a boiler room door and finding Abyss.
Yeah, there was that. And like I had to laugh because Michael Coles listens to this show, or not this show, but the Wednesday show. And the proof is because he said that when they showed Abyss that he and AJ were former, tag team champions at TNA. And that's literally the episodes we're on right now.
Wow.
So thank you, Michael Cole, for listening to the show. Hope you enjoyed it.
Sure he did.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously a regular listener, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, what else are you going to do when you're driving to these towns?
Exactly.
Actually, is he even really driving? Like at this point, like SmackDown is live, so they don't even do Monday, Tuesday anymore. What else are you going to do when you're flying home to Texas or wherever the hell he's actually from?
Hey, last I knew, he lived in San Antonio.
Cool. I just remember he was from Texas because there was that little thing with him and JR before he actually turned heel where he would, do the hook 'em horns thing and when JR would do the, Boomer Sooner. Yes. But yeah, thank you, Michael Cole, for checking us out. Please shout us out. I mean, CM Punk shouted out Jim Cornette's show a couple times. You can at least shout us out.
Yeah.
So main event time. Tag team champions, the Rock and Roll Express versus the Alamo Busters. Again, the special stipulation is we only have one referee. And I didn't even write who it was. Wasn't it King Carl Fergie?
It was Carl Fergie, yes.
I do like that, they've started putting actual matches at the end of the shows. And I get like it makes it more real when you have the standby matches going at the end because hey, you don't know how long this match is going to go. But I've been liking that they've been doing this now the past couple of weeks where we're getting a actual main event and we're not just killing 3 minutes before the show goes off the air.
I don't know. I get what you mean. I have a personal preference of doing it the other way because and this is a silly term to use, but it protects the business a little more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I understand the allure of wanting something more dramatic at the end.
Oh, definitely. Do you remember, I think it was like the 4th episode of Dynamite, Pac was wrestling somebody, might have been Hangman Page, and
Jon
they
Moxley.
went to Jon Moxley, and went to the expiration of time limit draw. I'm going to assume the answer is yes, because you corrected me.
Yeah, yes, I do remember that.
And they got so much shit for that, so he never did it again.
Good old TV time remaining.
Yeah. All right. So I know you weren't a fan of last week's match, but I, again, thought this was another good match with these four. Classic used the Monterey Crab, but Ricky got the ropes. Robert got the hot tag, and Joel was worried that the show might end before we could see his new music video. And this was before I saw it, so I'm like, Jesus Christ, Joel, shut up about your fucking music video. Ricky had the pin on Hector, but Chavo dove across the ring onto the referee. Now, I will say that I think Carl Fergie screwed over the Rock and Roll Express here because he held up his count until Chavo made the save.
And he's not even Mexican.
Yep.
That we know of.
I like this finish. So what happened was both Guerreros did the Mexican surfboard to Ricky, where one would grab one arm, one would grab the other arm. And so they're holding him there. And Robert scurries underneath Ricky and covers the Guerreros and gets the pin.
Yeah.
I like this finish. I mean, it's kind of wacky because all four guys are in the ring and who's actually legal, but I think it's a neat finish.
Yeah, my complaint with the other match wasn't to do anything with the work. It was that with the referee thing, it just made the match a mess. But this is cool. Chavo did what wrestlers call the house show dive, and Joel almost wet himself. He had never seen such a thing.
Which is funny because he's done that several times on this show.
But yeah, the Guerreros did like a joint Mexican surfboard thing on Ricky, and then Robert slipped in it. But and again, it's goofy, but hey, at least it was a finish.
Actually, you know what it made me think of? Do you remember the three-way they did at the one pay-per-view on Father's Day with Wade Barrett, The Miz, and Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental title
Yeah.
when Axel won the belt? Miz put Barrett in the figure four, and then I forget if he probably pinned Miz because that would make it make sense because Miz put Barrett in the move. He covered Miz and pinned him, and Miz couldn't kick out, and Wade couldn't make the save.
Yep.
That was actually, and it wasn't even supposed to be Curtis Axel in the match. It was originally supposed to be Fandango, but I think he got a concussion.
I had this figured out one time. The father and sons who had both been Intercontinental Champion. It's Mr. Perfect and Curtis Axel, Rikishi and Jey Uso, and then I think there's one I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting?
Honestly, I'd forgotten Rikishi and Jey Uso. I'd forgotten Jey Uso won the Intercontinental title. Um, I don't know why Bret Hart, because I know Bret Hart, Stu Hart did not win the Intercontinental title, but for some reason that one stuck into my head. We'll figure it out at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Rocky Johnson never won the belt.
You know what? And this isn't the one I was thinking of, but I believe that there was a time that Rocky Johnson won the Intercontinental title on a dusty finish. But that wasn't. I get Ray and Dominic. Duh.
Oh, yeah, there you go. The easiest one to guess because it's the current fucking champion.
That was how I figured it out. I had to look up the current champion.
Oh God. But although to be fair, I guess it's still father and son because like Dominic isn't Ray's son. But yeah.
Well, Eddie Guerrero was also the Intercontinental Champion.
Yes, he has. He beat both China and Rob Van Dam for the belt.
Oh, the fucking thing. Do you remember how they did that? It was like a three-way with Eddie and China and Kurt Angle. God damn, Eddie was fantastic. It's facials and that. Acting like he didn't mean to do that when he totally meant to do that.
Whether or not he actually meant to do that, he was pleased with winning, you know? It was like, oh man, I didn't really mean to win. It's like, oh, where's my belt? You know?
If you're not like us and freakishly remember it, or if you've never seen it, it was China and Eddie Guerrero were a couple, and China was the Intercontinental Champion, and they were in a triple threat match against Kurt Angle. And I think Kurt hit China with the belt, I think. And then Eddie was like hugging her and checking out, and he hugged her right to the ground in 1, 2, 3.
I thought she was already on the ground and he was just like cradling her.
Well, he was, yeah.
I gotta love that. Like, we both knew exactly what the other one was thinking when we said that, you know? Oh, God. And I was thinking, like, I was a huge Rob Van Dam fan, especially in that 2001, 2002 era. And I was so mad that Eddie beat him for the title. And then Eddie won again at Judgment Day. I'm like, motherfucker. And then they did the ladder match. They did a great ladder match on Raw that Van Dam won the belt.
By the way, yesterday, as we record this, I believe was the 24th anniversary of the debut Ring of Honor show, which had Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero wrestled super crazy for the IWA Puerto Rico Intercontinental title, and then that was February. Eddie returned to the WWF in April, won the Intercontinental title, and then he still had like a Ring of Honor date. So I think his last Ring of Honor appearance, like he wore the Intercontinental belt, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah. Because I'm slowly getting through the Ring of Honor library. How slowly? I just finished Death Before Dishonor 1 in 2003. So I got some shows to go, is what we're saying. Honestly, like, I love these shows, but like they're all 3-4 hours long. They're hard to really sit here like there's no like bulk watching, I can't just sit here and watch like 3 episodes of Ring of Honor,
Right.
I tried giving Honor Club a chance for both launches, and it's like I don't like the setup. And I guess there's a reason why, but like there's also a lot of stuff missing. Like there will just be random matches that aren't in the Ring of Honor, like the show releases. Because Because there's some shows, for some reason, some shows, they're supposed to post the whole show, and then other shows, they do match by match. But when they do match by match, it's usually missing a match or two at the least. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm an all or nothing type person, you know?
That's why I have my own media server.
You have your own version of Honor Club. That's what you're saying.
One of these days, when I get it kind of set up the way I want, we should do like a guided tour together. We'll put it up on the YouTube page
Of your media server?
Yeah.
Sure. By the way, the show Mid-South show ends with the new Joel Watts music video, and he was super excited that the show or the match ended so we could get his final music video. A Rock and Roll Express video set to Kiss's Rock and Roll All Night. And this was good. And Joel also filmed them, and he edited it so like Ricky and Robert were singing the song. And it's like, hey, this and I don't know. I don't know how much Joel really wanted to be on TV. This could have just been his dad pushing him onto TV before he was ready. It's like Joel is really good at, producing these music videos. And he should just be doing that. Like, it'd be great.
I had flash forwards to the Thrill Seekers when the last scene in the video was Robert trying to sleep, and Ricky is in his room with a boom box ready to go rock and roll all night.
I wrote that. I didn't write the part of the Thrill Seekers, but Robert is trying to sleep, and Ricky broke into his house and his bedroom with a giant boom box and wouldn't leave.
Great work, Joel. 10 out of 10, no notes.
There is I could pull it up here, but it would ruin my world class thing I got here. But there is a downloaded torrent that I have that has all the Mid-South music videos. It's like 2.5 hours long, I think. It's good shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
So over in World Class, I don't know why. I think I was just in a mood. But I watched these shows in reverse order. I watched World Class first instead of Mid-South. And I think that left me in a better mood also when I ended it, because I ended it with a better show, but also because we got to skip half of World Class this week. We'll tell you why here in a second, even though longtime listeners could probably answer the question for us. But let's go to the intro here with Bill Mercer.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling, seen from Israel to Japan, around the world, and all the states of America. Right here at the Sportatorium, the most famous wrestling arena in the world, World Class Championship Wrestling. And we have a tremendous card. Gino Hernandez, the one-man gang, and our main event features a new tag team, Mike Von Erich, teaming up with an old friend, Brian Adias, against the Midnight Express. Yes, that's it, and we'll be right back with excitement on World Class Championship Wrestling.
All right. So, by the way, Brian is not a shoe. He's Brian Adias, not Adidas. But that's not the problem with this intro. The problem is, I'm half paying attention to the background, and I see a bunch of kids at ringside getting people's autographs, and I see Ricky Hazard there, and I'm like, wow, these people are such fans that they want autographs of referee Ricky Hazard. That's neat. And that's not who the children were getting autographs from, was it, Trey?
No, it was somebody that should probably be kept away from children.
Yes, it was. However, and I know this is all editing, but I do laugh that he was there for the beginning of the show. And then we went to a replay. They showed in its entirety the Chris Adams Kerry Von Erich match from last week. So that ate up the first 14 minutes of the show. And then we went back to the ring for good old rock and roll Buck Zumhoffe, where he got squished by the one-man gang. So I like to believe he was just standing in the ring for 15 minutes waiting for his time.
Yeah.
Now, I do have some good news, and I don't know if you looked this up, Trey, but do you know what the good news is?
Is Zumhoffe in the territory?
This was a loser leaves town match.
Yay. Thank you, One Man Gang. By the way, I will say it every time that he shows up. The One Man Gang all-time great wrestler name.
Yes. Now, he does come back in June of 1986 for a Fort Worth show, but of course, we don't see the Fort Worth shows. But that is just a one shot, and we never see it. He's the AWA's problem now, and we're not going to start doing an AWA show.
God, no.
You know, there is not enough money that I could have that would make one of our 7 shows we would do a week an AWA show.
There are a lot of territories that I want to do. We would have to go very far down the list before I wanted to do an AWA show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at my my collection of world class events here, and now I'm irritated that we don't have I need to look the July '85, Star Wars, because I found out. Do you know what song Jim Cornette used as entrance music for that show, The Famous Match Against Sunshine?
I do not.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Oh my God, that is tremendous.
That amazing.
I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. It don't feel good.
Are you a South Park fan?
I haven't really watched it the last few seasons, but I have been. I was, yes.
Though this is a very old reference. Whenever I hear this, all I think of is Towelie is like, I think that was the one that he was huffing like air dusters, and he was singing that song, and somebody came and knocked on the door, and he goes, "No way, I'm walking on sunshine."
I'll be honest, I never really cared for Towelie. I thought he was, I didn't care for his character.
Yeah. That was why when Towelie debuted, they made I love Towelie t-shirts and I hate Towelie t-shirts.
I did not have a I hate Towelie t-shirt, but I probably should have.
I like Towelie.
Although that makes as much sense as the people who would buy the Cena sucks shirts. Because who do you think got the money for that shirt?
Have you ever read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should. You should.
Well, any particular reason, or just for the hell of it?
Well, because it's one of the fucking greatest novels ever written. I think it's just Douglas Adams was a satirical genius, and let's see if I can remember the quote. Any man who can hitch the length and breadth of the galaxy, struggle against terrible odds, win through, and still know where his towel is clearly a man to be reckoned with.
Okay.
I collect novels with great opening lines, and I think the greatest opening line to a novel ever is to the sequel to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very unhappy and been widely regarded as a bad move.
Okay. I think we've sold me a book now. By the way, I also just remembered today is the 12-year anniversary of the launch of the WWE Network.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the shit show when that thing debuted? A, nothing, you couldn't get anything to fucking work on it. B, it took forever for people to sign up because they wouldn't let you sign up until the morning of at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And of course, everyone tried signing up all at the same time and crashed the website. And to make it worse, it was you made it think oh man, they're getting 1 million signups right away, and they got 50,000.
Who would have guessed that NJPW World would outlive the WWE Network?
No, I'm not saying that nobody is interested in paying New Japan a shit ton of money for their network content, and who knows if even they'd sell it,
I remember that one because I was there was no announcement beforehand. They just announced it and it was there. And I remember, there's a time difference. It was 1 o'clock in the morning over Thanksgiving break, which means I was at my father-in-law's house in Arkansas, frantically writing my end of semester grad school papers. And I had to have been one of the first handful of people to sign up for NJPW World.
You had to be sign up number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, wasn't it the same weekend that the CM Punk Colt Cabana
yeah. Oh, it was. It was. Yeah. Because I remember that.
That was a very interesting weekend.
The fucking thing like crashed out, and I had to go somewhere. Like somebody had uploaded it on YouTube or something because you couldn't download it for a while because it had crashed the fucking podcast server.
It broke the internet.
Yeah.
So back to World Class. We're now halfway through the show already, so hooray for that. And we go to the ring for your champion and the Texas champion, Gino Hernandez, versus the returning Mark Ragen. Yes. It is the return of Mark Ragen, the last seen in Mid-South. I just love that. Like, I don't know what happened to this guy, but I'm happy he's back.
So you can recap the match if you please. But the one spot, Gino had him pinned and pulled him up, and then Mark Ragen made a comeback, and then he tried to do a head scissors and fucking garroted himself on the top rope.
I just love that, like, his name is Mark Regan, or that's how it's pronounced, but it's spelled Ragin. He is not Mark Regan. He is Mark Ragen. And his name is always written in all caps, no matter where he's at. It's all caps, so it's not just Mark Regan or Mark Ragen. It's Mark Ragen.
Well,
maybe it's because I'm a biased Gino Hernandez mark, or maybe it's because I skipped half the show. But I found this to be a perfectly acceptable enhancement match, and Gino won with a side Russian leg sweep. Maybe he needs to join the Dirty White Boys.
I want to make a joke here, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, he won with the Russian suplex.
Do you think it would have saved him from dying?
Hanging out with the Dirty White Boys?
Yeah. He may not have ingested cocaine then.
I don't know. Maybe he just would have killed Tony Anthony too.
Well, thankfully that didn't happen.
Thankfully, and we got Dirty White Boy and Mr. Ron Wright, and then the Dirty White Girl in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
You are perhaps the only person who is excited for the Dirty White Girl in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
I sure am.
I will just never forget her diving over the top of Primetime Brian Lee and almost breaking her neck. Let's now go to Bill Mercer, who's at ringside with Jim Cornette, who's got a cold, and the Midnight Express.
Midnight Express and their manager, Jim Cornette. Mr. Cornette, glad to see you.
I don't do that. It spreads germs. Let me tell you something, Bill Mercer.
I was going to ask you a question.
Men, the Midnight Express are the greatest tag team of all time, and everybody knows it, but the one thing they were never able to do was go for the six-man title because there weren't three of them.
And now?
Well, now there are. The Crippler, Rip Oliver. I've signed him up because I'm seldom wrong. As a matter of fact, I'm never wrong about anything. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. I knew he was the man for us, but after what he did to that big, dumb goof Billy Haynes, I was positive. I took him home to meet Mother. She approved him. She was as in love with him as I am. And the Crippler, Rip Oliver, will join with us for six-man tag team title matches. And you know who holds the world six-man tag team title.
Right.
Kevin, Kerry, and Mike. Or should I call them by their real names? Adam, Hoss, and Little Joe. Let me tell you something, boys. As somebody on the Ponderosa, baby, it's the Midnight Express and Rip Oliver. So tell Hop Singh to set a place at the table because we're staying for dinner. What do you want?
I want to know. Sunshine says now you are on her list, and she's going to find somebody to get you.
I just bet Sunshine has a list with a lot of guys' names on it. But I want to say one thing. Okay, anytime there's a list of important names anywhere around the world, a Cornette's name is on it. A little girl playing at wrestling, let her do what she wants to do. Get out of our way. We got a match to win.
All right, the very affable, very generous Jim Cornette and his American Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express. And we'll be right back with more World Class.
The very affable and generous Jim Cornette, if you will.
I just bet Sunshine has a list with a lot of guys' names on it. That was a fucking fantastic line.
It really is. We need to figure out an episode title, by the way, because I really don't even have an idea for this week. But if we could figure out a way to work Sunshine's list of guys in there. But yeah, Cornette's losing his voice, and he's still talking a mile a minute. Good news is Mama Cornette does approve of Rip Oliver, so that's nice. You know, you don't want to piss off, your main benefactor there.
By the way, nice Bonanza reference in there. Did you ever watch Bonanza, Arya?
I didn't, but I knew the reference of Adam Haas and Little Joe.
Yeah, my dad loves westerns and then loves Bonanza, so appreciated the reference.
Now, I do wonder if because don't they bring in Little John, or was that his name?
Yeah,
like
that's
7 feet tall.
I think that's the second annual David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions.
Yes, and I didn't write when they said it, but they do mention it somewhere on the show that they are building up to the second annual David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions. And I'm wondering if that was like the dropping a hint for a future booking kind of thing. Although I could just be overthinking this because it is world class. I forget which video I was just watching of Cornette, but I was watching one of him where he was talking about how he tried coming up with an idea, or he came up with an idea for the finish of the Kevin Von Erich match.
I just watched the same video. I was actually, I had thought
maybe they just posted it.
We should play that on when we review that match. We should play that clip.
And hey, Jim Cornette could use the extra bump that he'd get from appearing on our show.
Yeah.
So main event time. It's American Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express, with the colorful Jim Cornette versus Brian Adias and Mike Von Erich with the lovely Sunshine. Drunk Mark Lawrence once again calls the Midnight Express the defending champions before saying this is a non-title event. And hey, remember how we've talked about how they can't spell the Midnight Express correctly? Well, they spelled it correctly this week. MIDNIGHTEXPRESS.
Good for them.
Yep. Now, we're apparently obsessed with purple outfits this week because Bobby Eaton, for perhaps the only time, at least I've ever seen him, he's wearing a purple singlet. A one-strap singlet.
Bobby Eaton stole this at a Jerry Lawler's closet, I believe, with all my heart.
It's possible Jerry Lawler was having a yard sale, and Bobby Eaton purchased it on the drive to Dallas. Now, they got the heat on Adias, and I decided now was the time to find out, is Brian Adias really a childhood friend of the Von Erichs? Because they're really pushing this, but A, we're about to have Lance Von Erich come in a few months, so just because they're pushing something doesn't mean it's real. And B, it's still that mid-'80s wrestling feel where it's like, okay, here is the best friend of the top babyface, and they're going to turn heel in like 6 months. But according to Lance Peterson on Twitter at SMU Heavyweight, he most certainly is a childhood friend of the Von Erichs and says that there are tons of pictures of them as kids hanging out together.
Lance Peterson, very fine, world-class historian.
Yes. And it's like, he is somebody who went to a lot of these shows. And if you follow him, if you even have an inkling of a care about world class, he is somebody to follow on Twitter because he posts a lot of pictures and programs from the shows he went to. So certainly recommend.
I actually asked him the other day if there was a reason that the World Class TV title was exclusive to the Fort Worth TV, and there wasn't really a reason, but he did confirm that it was exclusive,
which is kind of weird. And I don't know, maybe it's the taping schedule because I don't know how many. I think Fort Worth was a weekly Monday town. Maybe, I could be wrong, and the Sportatorium was bi-weekly, so maybe that was it.
Well, the Fort Worth show was 2 hours, so they probably was a
that
week
too. Yeah, that would make sense too.
And
now,
again,
I know
I've said this, the only reason that I wish we had the World Class TV was when they would just let Cornette talk to fill time.
It's hilarious that you could have a territory that's so, I don't know, like they have so few people in the territory, and their TV shows are so loosely put together. Jim Cornette can just go out there and be told talk for however long you want.
He said his record was
And
7 minutes.
I wish that we could see that, because I mean, it's Jim Cornette. You go and hear him talk for 7 minutes without a breath. It's called the Jim Cornette Experience. Comes out every week. But it'd just be interesting to see him just ramble on and on and on like that.
Indeed.
Now, I know Mike is a Von Erich, but they really should be getting the heat on him. He's skinny. He's very handsome. Like, he's the guy you get the heat on. The nice, sympathetic baby face working from underneath. And the sympathy he would get would be tremendous. Now, I don't know how Adias would be doing a comeback. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. But he took a beating quite well. Just I think Mike would be better. Mike got the hot tag. We got the expected four-way. Mike got the sleep hold on Dennis, and Cornette poked him in the ribs with a racket. He went for a full thwack, but Sunshine ran over and decked him being Jim Cornette, obviously. And then Mike pinned Bobby after Brian press slammed Mike onto Bobby. Now, I'm not expecting Mike and Brian to be getting a title shot anytime soon, but this was a big win over the Mid-South Tag, the Mid-South Tag Champs, the American Tag Team Champions.
I mean, this would lead to them getting a title shot if this was a confidently booked territory, but no.
I'm still waiting for Bobby versus Johnny Mantell.
This was one of the better matches in the careers of Mike Von Erich and Brian Adias, and just another day for the Midnight Express.
I don't have a very good knowledge of Brian Adias wrestling, so I can't confirm or deny that. I mean, he's never been thought of as, one of the better workers. But this was a positively good match here. They got like 13, 14 minutes. And, any show you're going to give the Midnight Express 13 or 14 minutes and have a competent opponents on the other side, you're going to get a good match.
This show has been a hell of a lot more watchable since Midnight came in.
Exactly. I bet you can't wait until July 1st when they go to Crockett.
Oh, we might have to change the show.
Hopefully by then we get more Gino and Chris, because like the whole point we're still watching this is because I'm like, oh man, Gino and Chris, and they're barely on TV together. I don't think they've ever done a promo together, at least as just the two of them, like they did with Jake, once or twice.
Speaking of Gino, available now, our friend Lizzie Flanagan's book, I Am Your Champion, is available through McFarlane Books and on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold. And I have been in communication with her, and as soon as we can get copies of the book to read properly, we're going to have her on to talk about Gino.
Sounds good. Now, when you say as soon as we get copies of the book, do you mean we're friends of the book, or are you saying that you and I need to make sure that an author gets paid for their work?
I've been thinking about that, and we'll talk about it.
Listen, I'm really putting you on the spot here on the show here. By the way, so I've kind of made up my mind. This show's going to drop Thursday, and then we're just going to skip Smoky Mountain this week.
Okay.
Or just do it next week.
Good enough.
Yeah. The blizzard just fucked me up the ass here. See, if I would have been smart, I would have, well, I guess I didn't get power till 4 p.m. I was going to say, I would have been smart. I would have posted the TNA show on Tuesday, but I really couldn't have.
No.
But yeah. So let's see. Is there anything going on in the world of wrestling for us to talk about? To kill a few extra minutes.
1984 or today?
Huh?
Or 85? Or yeah.
No, today. Let's see here. Zarya turns against Sol Ruka on NXT. I know so little. Like, can you tell if I'm pronouncing her name right? And
Um,
they changed a bunch of belts here. Miles Bourne won the North American title. Elio LaFleur, whoever the fuck that is, won the men's speed title. And Vanity Project, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes won the NXT tag team titles.
I don't know who any of those people are.
I definitely don't know who they are. Miles Bourne, I've seen the name before, and that's about it. Because when I heard Miles Bourne, I was thinking of a black guy, but Miles Bourne is very, very white.
Apparently, the Dynamite Kid's daughter has started a petition to get the Dynamite Kid inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
I mean, I guess there ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, it is the WWE Hall of Fame. After all, the Dynamite Kid did have a tremendous career. It just, you always, like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, they've inducted worse people than the Dynamite Kid, I guess. So I'll just, leave it at that.
Yeah.
AJ's going in.
Saw
AJ
that.
Styles.
Yeah.
I'm sure AJ Lee will one day too, but I do you think, and I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like, and I guess ultimately, who really gives that many fucks if somebody's gonna claim this and brag it as their accomplishment? Who the fuck am I to, tell them to stop? But like, I can't imagine. Like, let's say it sells out. I don't know. They haven't yet announced what they're doing for the Hall of Fame. Last year they did it separately, but years before they were doing it after SmackDown. But like, let's say it sells out. Is anybody really dumb enough to think that it's sold out because people want to see Stephanie McMahon be inducted?
You know what? They may actually be dumb enough to think that.
And I mean, let's just say, like, everybody has a fan. And I've always learned that, like, especially like with people like, who the hell likes the Bella Twins? But like, the Bella Twins are really popular among a certain subset of fans. And like Kelly Kelly just posted on Twitter today, or maybe not Twitter, but she posted somewhere today that she was disappointed that she's not in the new WWE video game. And I'm like, who the fuck wants Kelly Kelly in the new WWE video game? But a lot of people would like to see Kelly Kelly in the new WWE video game. So what the hell do I know?
You know what? There are people out there who like Eva Marie, so there's no accounting for taste.
Yep. No, there was somebody. It wasn't my brother, but we talked to somebody in the old podcast who was an Eva Marie fan, and I was like, really? And that's when she really sucked. Do you remember? And this was when NXT was like not seen anywhere except by people who torrented the show like me. There was a match in, I think, 2013 on NXT with Bayley and Eva Marie, and holy fuck, that match just blew chunks, and it was not Bayley's fault. And this is not the match, because they had another match a year or two later on NXT when Bayley was the women's champion, and it was very rehearsed. It was a lot better. And it was there to set up the feud with Bayley and Nia Jax. That one of the takeover London, I believe. But
So I was just scrolling the Twitter machine here, and I don't know if you saw this. I think was it in the last few days? Janel Grant, the accuser in the Vince McMahon case, made a statement, and so now just the most repulsive people are coming out of the woodwork to attack her. And I saw the first one. I saw that it was a woman, and I'm like, who the fuck is this woman? And it was Shelly Martinez, and I didn't even recognize her. And now I am seeing Jasmine St. Clair, and holy fucking shit, what happened to this woman's face? Is this from, you know what? I'm not going to make that comment because it could be misconstrued as misogynistic, but the state of this woman's face.
That would imply that the state of that woman's face in 2000 was much better.
This face looks like that face was this face about 20,000 dicks ago, it looks like.
So I'm afraid to ask, but Shelly Martinez and Jasmine St. Clair are sucking Vince's dick.
Well, I wasn't in the room. I don't know, but you
Via
mean
Twitter.
figuratively? Yes, very much so.
They know that he doesn't run the company right now, right? And I mean, Shelly worked there for a year or so she couldn't have been that good at it. This is where I get canceled.
You know what? I appreciate the solidarity that I had already gotten myself canceled again, and you just jumped in the hole with me.
You know, we got to stick together. We'll be doing the show for our 5 listeners for the rest of our lives.
If we do not hang together, we will hang separately.
It's one of those times where it's like, man, wouldn't it be nice if we had a sponsor? Like now would be a nice time to talk about our sponsor for the show, BetterHelp.
Look, BetterHelp, if you're listening, I would accept a sponsorship because.
Well, they used to sponsor this show, but nobody. Well, it was one of those that you had to sign up for it in order for us to get paid, and no one signed up for it.
Too bad.
Are you depressed because you sucked Vince McMahon's dick 2 years after he left WWE? Try BetterHelp. I'm going to stop right now because I do not need a legal letter from BetterHelp. Do you remember when WrestleCrap Radio was sponsored by globalinternet.net and they used to say all this wacky shit about globalinternet.net and then got a letter to ask them not to say that stuff about them anymore?
Do you remember helprickeymorton.net?
I do.
Randomly thought of that the other day.
Do you remember? I forget if he was arrested or if he was just. He may have been trying to help Ricky Morton, but like Nikita Koloff was selling his Russian chain, and like he'd sign like links of the chain and sell it off. Like, how the hell did he sign links of a chain?
Very carefully, I bet.
A show it. Oh, Ricky Morton. I sold my chain for you. A show it. I'll be honest. I felt like such a mark when I met him because I'm like, he used his real voice, and I'm like, I was not expecting that. Like when you hear Nikita Koloff's real voice, you're like, huh, you're not Russian.
Love the story of Cornette was talking about the Crockett plane, and Nikita would do the accent on the plane, and finally Arn Anderson said, "Cue ball, we all know you're from Minnesota."
I guess it's one of those things like you need to practice it, so I could kind of see that, I guess. But yeah, was it Ivan Koloff that Bret talked about in his book that he was in a van ride with him and recognized him as being just some random non-Russian guy?
Let's see, I don't remember. Bret's book is out on audio book now, and I gotta check that out.
Now, who reads it? Is it him?
Bret.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All 3,000 pages, huh? It's a long ass book. We'll say that. Honestly, like one of the 3 best wrestling books of all time. That, Jericho's first book, and Foley is good.
Yes, I agree.
Like that's the S tier of wrestling books. Now they had to create a new tier for my books, but you know, I'm happy to take a back step to those 3 books because you know those are 3 tremendous books.
Yeah, all fine authors: Bret, Shawn, Jericho, and Arya.
So not even Mick. We're not including Mick.
Oh, fuck! I said Shawn. I meant Mick.
Yes. I'm like,
my bad.
Actually, Jericho's Ghost Rider was Peter. And I know that not because I'm a fucking idiot, not because I'm that person who remembers the Ghost Riders. I'm looking at a lion's tail 10 feet from me. And it's Chris Jericho with Peter Thomas Fornatail.
Yeah.
Fornatail. You'd just be happy I know it was Peter. Like, my eyes suck, people. I'll be honest, and there's part of me that wishes I didn't do that, and part of me understands why I did it. I always got rid of all my book jackets from my hardcover books.
Oh,
Like those just
it's awful.
bothered me. Like, you know. But yeah. So I guess that's gonna bring us to the end. We've kind of run out of things to talk about. And it's our only show this week, as you may have heard, Smoky Mountain, because of my little blizzard problem, we're going to push Smoky Mountain back a week. So we'll be back. Trey and I'll be back on Tuesday and go from there. I'm on the site formerly known as angrymarks.com tonight for our ECW on TNN review. It's quite possibly the best episode of ECW on TNN, or at least has one of the best matches ever on ECW on TNN. It's the Impact Players versus Jado and Gato.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, go check that out. At this point, if you're listening to this, I don't know how you're not listening to both, but what the hell? But that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.